So I just finished hand sanding this coyote. It's a Damascus. It's like it's the one that I forged in that video the other day. 164 layer Damascus Go My coyote. So hand sanding's done. It is hand sanded to 600 grit, and now it's time to etch. And I've had a few of you fellow knife makers ask me questions about how to do this, how to etch Damascus. There are a few different ways that you can do this. I have tried a number of different ways, and this is what works best for me. This is what I like to do, so I'm going to demonstrate and tell you guys all how I etch my Damascus knives. So first step is going to be to clean it. I'm going to clean this and get all, because I hand sand with a lubricant. I use PB Blaster. Some people use WD-40, some people use Windex, but I wet sand essentially with a lubricant. So I want to get all that oil and stuff off of here. So I'm going to start by cleaning this and then go into a ferric chloride mixture for 3 10-minute cycles. So we're going to start that process now. So this ferric chloride is a 4-to-1 dilution ratio, which means there is 1 part ferric chloride acid to 4 parts distilled water. This is what I have purchased. I got this a long time ago. I've only used half of this gallon, but that is exactly what I'm using right there. And you want to store it in a proper container, obviously not a metal one. So PVC pipe works really good. You could use any kind of plastic jug, but 1 part ferric chloride to 4 parts distilled water is in that pipe. I take it out after just a couple of minutes, say 2 minutes, just to make sure that I don't have any fingerprints or any weird stuff going on with not having gotten it clean properly. I need to make sure that my etch is going the way that I want it to. So I'm just going to rinse it off real quick. I'm going to take this fine Scotch-Brite, the gray colored Scotch-Brite, and just Scotch-Brite it. So that 2-3 minute etch there wasn't long enough to really reveal anything. It didn't etch deep enough, but you can start to see that pattern. But it's basically sanded back clean. I don't have any oily fingerprints or contamination on that blade. Now it's going to go in for 10 minutes. I'm going to leave it alone for 10 minutes. I'm going to set a timer, and we're going to do that again. All right, it's been 10 minutes. I'm going to take this out and let you guys see that. now we're starting to see some etching going on. That looks pretty good. But we want to go deeper. So I'm gonna just rinse that off. And I'm gonna use that Scotch-Brite again. This fine grit Scotch-Brite, I think if I remember right, is a 400 grit equivalent. So you're basically, if I hand sand a 600, I'm stepping down a grit essentially for this Scotch-Brite satin finish, which I'm okay with. The hardest part is getting into that plunge line. Try and get all the way up into that. So now when I Scotch-Brite that clean, you can still see it. That's the progress we've made, getting a deeper etch. So we're going to go back in for another 10-minute round. All right, this is the third and final etch. It's a beauty. Such a beauty. So now I'm going to neutralize that with Windex. The Windex has to have ammonia. It cannot be the ammonia-free Windex. I blow that dry instead of wiping it dry. If I did not want it to be this dark, I would then take 2000 grit paper, very, very fine grit paper, and I would lightly, very lightly hand sand over this with 2000 grit. I wouldn't use the oil as my lubricant. I would use Windex as my lubricant. That way I didn't worry about getting any oil on there again. But Windex and 2000 grit if I wanted to buff this back slightly and polish it. But for this one, I'm gonna leave it dark. These are the scales that are gonna go on it. And I think it's gonna look good with that darker etch. So now you know, that's how I etch my Damascus blades. I sometimes, if I'm feeling like it, I may do a coffee etch for the final round instead of ferric chloride. I could still do that now if I wanted to. If I wanted more contrast, I could buff this back with Scotch-Brite, get all the oxides off, and soak it for 24 hours in a coffee etch. But I don't like doing that. The main reason why is because I think that for a knife that's gonna be used, the coffee etch just doesn't last. It comes off too easily. So more and more lately, I am getting further away from using coffee. If it was gonna be a safe queen or a showpiece, I may do it, but I like doing it this way and just controlling how dark I want that etch to be via buffing, polishing after. So anyway, that's how I've been doing it lately. Learning new things all the time. Methods change, but that's the way that I'm doing it now. Thanks for watching.